Greetings. Thank you for pressing play on this voice note of mine, mainly hosted in Substack at thehealthyvoicerights.com. But you may be listening to this on YouTube. You may be listening to it on Spotify, but wherever you are, thank you for listening. My name is Bella. I call myself a trauma-informed voice teacher. That means that I am a voice teacher who has a little bit of a background in trauma training, mostly abuse, that kind of stuff. I worked for 3 years at a domestic violence shelter. The year before that, I trained to be an advocate for women who had been sexually assaulted. And so I have a bit of crisis training under my belt, and now I use that knowledge to help people whose voices are stuck, both literally and metaphorically. And today, I wanted to talk a little bit about silence and how essential silence is. It's kind of a weird thing for me to bring this up because one of the biggest problems that people have who come to me is that they feel like they are silenced, but not voluntarily. It is not a choice. They feel afraid to speak. They feel afraid to express themselves. They feel afraid to be themselves. And so they quiet themselves down or they hide behind a mask of some kind. They do everything they can to avoid sharing who they really are with people, usually for some kind of fear of punishment or rejection. But today I'm thinking about silence as a necessary tactic in our own healing path. And sometimes it's even a tactic in communication. And obviously, those of you who have felt silenced in an extreme way have used silence as a tactic of survival. And so you know what I'm talking about. Today I'm thinking about it as a way of self-preservation. I've often heard these terms extrovert and introvert, and I don't know what's true about it. I just know that sometimes I get to a point where I have to go quiet completely. I have to go away from everyone, not talk, not express myself, and just be in my own head. And that's actually how the walk and talk technique was born. Not that long ago, I was living up in a small town in Northern California in wine country, and it only took about half a mile to get to a road that was very, very lightly populated, really only a few houses on this. I would say the road itself was about maybe 4 miles long. Yeah, about 4.5 miles long. And it was mostly vineyards, a large cow pasture from, I believe, a dairy farm. Oh, actually, no, I think, unfortunately, I learned that it's the other kind of cow farm, which made me pretty sad when I realized that. But then there were also couple horses, and the houses that did exist on this road had enormous land. Just it's just such a great road to walk on. And I would take 2 hours to walk on this road, and I was still going through I was at the very last leg of my intense recovery period. I was already beginning to teach to private local voice students and share my new unusual methods of helping them. And so I was still kind of testing out my process with other people and still simultaneously working on healing my own blocks. And so I would open up my recording device and I would record myself talking, and it was incredible. It was so great to talk without anybody actually on the other end without an audience of any kind. And I really got to the truth of who I was by doing this practice. And that's why I encourage everybody I work with to do this walk and talk practice. It's incredible. Now I live in the city again. And so it's a slightly different experience. I'm walking past people on a regular, like moment by moment basis. It's not quite as exciting as it was when I was out in the country, but it's still beneficial. It's still extremely helpful. It's a great way to get to know who you are by not having anybody around you, by going into this quiet space and conversing with yourself, whether through your voice or through the writing practice, or just in a quiet meditative space where you're paying attention to your own thoughts. This is when you can really start to become confident in knowing who you are. Because I think another complication that comes up on this healthy voice path, whatever you want to call this thing that we're doing, there can be a question of, well, if I've been suppressing myself when I'm in the presence of other people, and if I have spent years hiding who I am, how do I know who I really am? And that's why I recommend this practice of going into a silent space so that you can actually listen to your own thoughts. And I'm the kind of person who I can't just think it through. I can for a certain period of time, but at some point, the thoughts become so fast. I get so many of them that I have to get them out into a matter of form. And that can be either typing it out, handwriting it, or speaking it out loud to myself. Because I can't keep track of my thoughts. Like it's like my attention span won't hold every thought just through the mental realm. It has to come out in words somehow. And I'm experiencing this moment right now because it's Wednesday, February 18th, as I record this. I'm going to post this tomorrow because I have today a YouTube video coming out where I read along to chapter 1 of Singing Through the Shadows. So for those of you who don't like to read but still want to participate in the series, you can actually watch or listen to me read it along and then see the video, the music video that goes along with it at the very end. And I'm also doing a live podcast with my friend Kiko, who I know from the raw vegan world that I've been a part of for a long time. And I'm excited to start talking about nutrition again. And I've just been trying to figure out how to approach it because I understand people. I've been a vegan, and I use this term very loosely, just so you know. I'm not attached to the label. I really only use the word when necessary. So like when I'm at a restaurant, or I just need to quickly let people know what my diet protocols are, what my restrictions are. I don't actually like the label because it has many connotations that I don't appreciate. But and again, here I am over explaining when it really, I should not have to. The truth is that is a big part of who I am. And so I've been this way for a long time. I became a vegetarian when I was 16 years old. I started preparing for the switch when I was 15 years old by giving up red meat and fast food and soda. Just started preparing for these big dietary changes so that when the time came when I was ready to actually not consume any meat whatsoever, I would be sort of like practiced. So anyway, the point is I've been doing this for a very long time. We're almost to the 30-year marker of being this way. And I've had so many experiences in these 3 decades of my life that have taught me some people are extremely sensitive and defensive the moment I mention that I am vegan. One of the reasons I do not like this label, I don't like inspiring feelings of defensiveness in people. When I share my knowledge about nutrition, my only interest is in helping people who want to hear it. And I always invite everybody to ignore me. If there is something about this that you don't like, you are always free to ignore me or anybody else. But today I'm going on live with Kiko on her podcast because I want to share my healthy voice path with her audience, first of all, because raw vegans tend to be a more healing path oriented plant-based philosophy. It's not so much political or activist oriented like the regular vegan world. And so I know that the raw vegans will want to hear what I've been up to with this voice liberation method that I've created. And then on the flip side, I would like to start sharing more of my nutrition knowledge with people with an understanding that not everybody is going to become a vegan or even a raw vegan, but there is a lot of information that can be very helpful for the healing path and the healthy voice path. And so today I'm kickstarting that. So anyway, so I will post this voice note tomorrow. And so I was about to give a little update about why I'm thinking about this because like I mentioned, it's the 18th of February. I launched the voice liberation method on February 7th. And so it's been a little over 1 week since launch. And I spent the first launch week still hyper-focused on it, making sure everybody got in there okay, checking all the comments to see if anybody was having troubles. Some people can't find the PDFs, the PDFs that come with each week. And so I've been putting out a lot of responses to make sure people can find that. And just, I was very nervous the first week. I put so much of my heart into this course. I wanted people to, first of all, I wanted people to do the course. I don't know how many of you have ever paid for a course and then never actually did the course. I've done that before. And I really wanted people to do the course. So I was checking the stats every day to see if people were actually doing it. I'm happy to say that the majority of people who signed up are actually taking the course, meaning they're actually watching the videos and they're at least going through the videos. Beyond that, I don't know if they're doing the journal prompts or the visualizations, but it seems that people are doing the course and they're liking the course. So far, all the comments have been very positive. I've even gotten some private messages from people who say they're loving the course. And so now, since yesterday, which of course I also learned there was a solar eclipse yesterday and the Chinese New Year or the Lunar New Year, which I'm not really knowledgeable about when it comes to that kind of thing. But I know a little bit about the idea of a Lunar New Year versus a solar New Year. And I'm behind in my astrology updates. So seeing that there was a solar eclipse, I was like, wow, no wonder I'm so exhausted with everything that's been going on. I think yesterday my body finally got the message that, look, everything is done. 4+ months of the Healthy Voice platform has been launched. It's going well. The community is doing well. Our group sessions are amazing. The community is really solidifying and participating on a daily basis in the discussions. They're watching the replays or coming to the live sessions. We have our third Courage Circle this Saturday with a full list of people who are going to share. We have the method, the voice liberation method is up and people are signing up for it every day, even post post launch, official launch. And things are going very well. And so my body kind of told me yesterday, you got to chill out. And so today I'm taking the morning to just be in my own head, and I'm going to go for a walk. And like I said, I'm still talking to you guys. I wanted to make a podcast for you. I know that the podcast isn't as popular as the YouTube channel, But every time I post one, I get new subscribers on Substack, and I get a lot of comments in the YouTube page with the podcast. And so the numbers may be small, but you guys are active and appreciative of this. And so I see you, and I enjoy making these voice notes. And so I wanted to get one recorded today so that I could at least have one posted this week. Maybe I'll get two. I always end up doing two or three. So hopefully I'll do that by the time we get to Sunday's newsletter. Anyway, I'm going to sign off here. If you haven't signed up for the Voice Liberation Method or the Healthy Voice community, think about it. There's a lot to offer. You can go at your own pace with both of them. In the community, you don't have to do the live sessions when they happen. You can watch the replays. You can participate quietly in the comments section. Every single day, there's something going on. There's a hydration challenge this month. This week, we're doing letters never sent. So there's a daily prompt for you to write a letter in the comments section or privately to someone or some part of yourself from the past that contributed to your voice, good or bad. It's up to you to decide. We're also doing 3 times a week. There's a warm-up video that I post based on the theme of the month, which this month the theme is resonance. Last month the theme was breath support. And next month the theme is going to be vocal control. So if you have a shaky voice, or if you have trouble with pitch, you just don't feel confident moving up and down in your melodies, then next month is going to be your month for sure. And of course, the Voice Liberation Method, which is where I've taken all of my over 2 decades of experience of teaching, combined with even the first 10 years of my life as a voice student. All that information, I compiled everything that I wished I had had in my early days of being a voice student, or in the years when I was going through my vocal recovery. I wish that something like this would have been around, something that combined the amazing classical vocal technique that exists. A lot of times you'll go to a sound healer or you'll go to a kirtan session, and they're really great. They're amazing for healing or for calming the mind, calming the nervous system, but they will not teach you vocal technique because a lot of them don't have the years of experience that I spent in school and also performing professionally as a classical singer. And so they're just not able to teach it. And the classical technique is actually so helpful when you're on a sound healing path, because when you're learning sound healing principles, the idea is to resonate at a very specific frequency. And you're trying to entrain your energy body to resonate at an in-tune frequency. And if you know vocal technique, as I learned when I was going deep into my own healing journey, I was so grateful to have that classical voice education in my background. Because even though my voice was quite blocked and quite strained, I knew what I was supposed to feel like, and I knew the goal that my body was, the direction that my body was going in. I knew that I was supposed to have a relaxed throat, that my throat was supposed to be open, my tongue was supposed to be down. I was supposed to feel the vibrations at the roof of my mouth, in the mask, in my sinuses, and in my cheekbones, and in my forehead. I had so many body memories of this information. And when I was doing my own vocal sound journeys, this information would actually come up during these moments. And I realized that classical education, I had that happen in my life. I had that chapter of my life for a reason because my interest in sound healing and music therapy and trauma recovery and health and wellness, it needed to be coupled with this classical technique, which is a powerful, powerful technique. And so my voice liberation method and my sessions in the community all involve vocal technique. And I want to teach it to anybody who wants to learn it so that you can learn how to relax your voice, speak or sing with ease, and then ultimately feel free being yourself, letting that mask down, letting your guard down, just being comfortable with who you are. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys later.